Well, hello, I'm Bee. Come along with me and let's talk about what it means to be poor. So I was reading in Matthew 11 when John the Baptist was asking, who is this Jesus? Is he really the Messiah? Go and check it out. He sent his disciples to go and check it out. And Jesus responded. In Matthew 11, verse 5, verse 4 and 5, we'll say, Jesus answered, "Go and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed by healing, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." And so then I was like, the poor have the gospel preached to them. And I know that there's probably plenty of meanings in there because, it wasn't common for people without means to have access to the teachers, the rabbis, and their teachings, and they didn't really get to sit at the feet of the rabbi, that there was money involved in order for that to happen. But I was just really curious about the word poor, and so I thought, what is the Hebrew word that is being used there? Because they do have a couple of different Hebrew words for the word poor. The one that was being used in this instance, and in many instances where Jesus is speaking, is the word ani. And isn't that interesting? So, so I looked up the word ani and its meaning. And so, I just think it's really interesting. So it means I am. So in Hebrew, the word ani means I am. That's one of its meanings. I am, which is a name for God. And it also means poor in spirit or humble. And humble is a low spiritual, social, or physical position. Okay? And when you look up the Hebrew letters for ani, what you find are a strong power leader, seed, continue, heir, son, hand, work, throw, and worship. Isn't that interesting? That's so interesting. And so I think that's Aleph, Nun, and Yod. And so I might be wrong about the name of the letter, but I believe that's Yod, yes. Okay, so I just think that's really interesting. Strong power leader, seed, continue, heir, son, hand, work, throw, or worship, right? What do we do with our hands? What do we do with our hands? We work, we throw, and we worship, right? So think about this. To be poor, and what it means to be the I am. The I am humbled himself, and he got real low, and took on flesh, right? He humbled himself, he took on flesh in order to bring his children back into his kingdom. And if we look at the Proto-Indo-European meaning of the word poor, it means producing little, or humble from soil, okay? When we look at the word humble, it means obedient, earth, and lowly. Again, we're looking at the Proto-Indo-European root, the etymological root meaning of the word, not the modern definition of the word. And then, so lowly, if we look at lowly, it means low, lying on the ground, deep place, and to lie down. And so oftentimes, especially if you are reading the Bible, you'll notice that when people are repenting, they often lie face down, flat on the ground. Or there's a lot of times talking about how a person fell on their face, right, in worship of the Lord. And so isn't that so interesting? Fell on their face in worship of the Lord. So, and when you look at the word ani, it contains all these things: worship, and the Lord, the strong power leader, right? The seed, the heir, the son, the continuation of the Lord, right? And how he humbled himself. He came down and took on flesh, and flesh is of soil, right? The Lord created mankind. He created Adam from the soil. And Jesus is the second Adam. He is the perfected Adam, and Adam itself means man. So isn't that so interesting? So I am is Yahuwah, or Yod He Vav He, and Ani, right? Poor is Yahuwah, Yod He Vav He. So the strong power leader, the seed, the continuance, the heir, the son, the hand who does the work of God, the right hand of God, throws down the principalities and worships God. So, and again, I have behold nail, behold hand, or behold hand, behold nail, is Jesus. God is Jesus, and Jesus is God. So Jesus is humble. We are humble, formed of earth and filled with his Holy Spirit, by which we do the works of Jesus and worship our Creator, our Father. So he preached the gospel to the poor. So I love that there's just so much depth to the words in the Bible and to the teachings, and that we can just really go so deep and see just the wonders and the greatness of God in just a word. One word can reveal so much. The whole gospel is contained in that one word, the poor. So he preached the gospel to the poor. It's just so amazing to me. The I am preached to the I am, the gospel, the good word. Well, what's the good word? That's Jesus. And Jesus is the I am. So the I am preached the I am to the I am. He's telling us that we are one with him, and he is one with us. When he says, I and my Father are one, right? And then he goes on later on to say that if we are one with him, right, because we believe in him, then we become one with the Father through him. So, and that's what that statement is saying right there, so plainly, and yet only for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. So I hope that this blesses you, and that you enjoy that. I hope it inspires you in your own study and investigation of words and their meanings, and the words that we use. The power of life and death is in the tongue. The breath of God is in our lungs, and the name of God is in our breath. And every time we speak, God is in it. And so it's very important for us to be curious about and examine what the meanings are of the words that we're using, and to understand the original meanings of the word, so we know everything that is carried by that word. And we can also begin to identify the way that the enemy of our soul has tinkered around with words to change their meanings and to get us to say things perhaps we don't even know that we're saying. So something just to chew on and think about. I hope this inspires you. God bless you. Please do share any thoughts or comments that you might have. I would love to hear from you, anything that this might spark from you, and I hope to be able to join you again very soon and share even more with you. So take care. See you soon.